a dull yellow bill. The worldwide order Pelicaniformes includes not only the pelicans, but the tropic birds, gannets, cormorants, anhingas, and frigate birds as well. All species have bills at least as long as their heads, and all have 4 toes connected by a web of skin. They're aquatic birds which dive for fish from the surface or from the air, and many of the species are associated with the sea. The tropic birds are committed to life at sea and are not often seen from the North American mainland. Of the 3 species in existence, none breeds in North America, but they may be sighted off California, Florida, and the Hawaiian Islands, and along the southern Atlantic as far north as North Carolina. Very similar to the other 2 tropic birds, the red-tailed shows the characteristic white appearance and long streamers which trail from the center of the tails of the adults. The rapid, shallow wing beat is distinctive. One of the world's 9 gannets and boobies breeds in North America. Hovering to plunge, the adult northern gannet shows a white body, black wingtips, yellowish head, and facial outlines suggesting mascara. The spindle-shaped body, straight, conical bill, and long, sharply pointed wings present a distinctive profile. Lacking open nostrils, the northern gannet breathes through small openings at the corners of its mouth. The sexes are marked alike, but immatures are dark their first year, splotchy their second. The northern gannet nests on rocky cliffs in the maritime provinces and winters over the waters of the southeastern U.S. coasts. The throat pouch, common to all members of the Pelicaniformes but very small in some, is developed to an extreme in the world's 8 pelicans. The old limerick is correct. Its bill can hold more than its belly can, a capacity of 2 to 3 gallons of water scooped up with the fish the pelicans catch. The bill is broad, hook-tipped, and enormous, requiring pelicans to rest their heads, heron-like, on their backs in flight. In fact, the whole bird is enormous, with wings spanning 9 1/2 feet. The American white pelican, one of North America's 2 species, is nearly as huge as the California condor. The plumage is white except for the black arc on the outer half of the wings. The bill, pouch, and feet are orange-yellow. Breeding on lakes in American and Canadian prairies and in the Great Basin, adult white pelicans develop a horny fin on the upper mandible. The fin is lost by the time the birds reach their winter quarters in California and the Gulf Coast. The white pelican never plunge dives. Instead, white pelicans scoop fish from the shallows, often in cooperative groups. Large flights of white pelicans may be seen wheeling in summer thermals. The brown pelican folds its 7.5-foot wingspread, dives headlong into the water, and bobs to the surface with fish flopping in its pouch. The white heads and necks of the adults develop chocolate-colored nuptial napes, extending to their silvery brown backs. Immatures are brown above, whitish below. Cruising the coastal strands in dignified formations, the brown pelican captures the hearts of beachgoers from North Carolina to Florida and along the Pacific as far north as Washington. Of the world's 30 cormorants, 6 breed in North America and live by diving from the surface for fish, principally in coastal waters, though 2 species may be found inland as well. All are large blackish birds, more similar than distinct. Therefore, range and habitat are important in identification. When perched, cormorants hold their bills tilted upward and show a hunched vulture-like posture. The necks are long, and the bills are long, slender, and hook-tipped. Flight is direct and strong, often low over the water. Cormorants are gregarious in nesting, feeding, and resting. The great cormorant is the largest and northernmost of our cormorants, and is more widespread in Europe than in North America. The large size, whitish face and throat, and stocky neck held straight in flight are the best identifiers. Immatures are paler overall, dark brown on the breast, and pale on the belly. The great cormorant breeds in the maritime provinces and winters on the New England and mid-Atlantic coasts. The only other cormorant to share this range is the smaller double-crested cormorant, which carries its neck in a distinctive crook or Adam's apple in flight. A cormorant sighted inland in North America is very probably a double-crested cormorant, though the bird is most common along the coastlines. Note the featherless, pale orange mask and throat patch. In spite of the name, head crests are not a reliable field mark. After diving from the surface in pursuit of fish, the double-crested cormorant perches to dry in the sun. Immatures are pale on the throat and breast, whitish on the belly. Along the Texas and Louisiana coasts, there are two cormorants, the double-crested and the smaller olivaceous. The olivaceous cormorant has a more slender profile than the double-crested and an even longer tail. Immatures are dull grayish-brown and paler below than adults. Breeding adults show a thin white border along the rusty throat pouch. The Pacific coast in all seasons is shared by three cormorants: the ubiquitous double-crested, Brandt's, and the pelagic. Brandt's is a stout bird, much larger than the pelagic. Brandt's cormorant flies with the neck extended straight. The head is large and rounded, as opposed to being a continuation of the snake-like neck of the pelagic cormorant. Brandt's is also a gregarious bird given to group feeding frenzies, churning the ocean waters in shallow dives. The slender, long-tailed, and more solitary pelagic cormorant keeps to remote cliffs to nest and feeds amid surf-pounded rocks. A white flank patch is conspicuous. Breeding pelagics show a small red mask, and they erect a ragged crest. Note the slim bill. The immature pelagic cormorant is as dark as the adult, whereas the young of Brandt's are brownish and young double-crested cormorants are pale on the neck and breast. Larger than the pelagic cormorant, whose northern range it shares, the red-faced cormorant wears a more extensive orange-red mask in all plumages and has a paler bill. Breeding adults are crested. Like the pelagic, the red-faced cormorant shows a white flank patch. It lives in the seas around the Aleutian Islands and the adjacent coasts of Alaska. One of the world's 4 species of anhingas occupies the western hemisphere. Like the cormorants, the anhingas do not have oil glands with which to waterproof their feathers. So, after diving, they spend time drying in the sun. The anhinga is distinguished by a snake-like neck and head tipped with a straight, spear-shaped bill. The tail is nearly as long as the body, and the silvery pattern on the backs of adults is unique. The heads, necks, and upper breasts of females are buff brown. Juveniles are more uniform brown. In its southern Atlantic and Gulf coastal range, the dark, cross-like form of the anhinga may be seen soaring or in powered flight of quick, shallow wing beats. A graceful swimmer, the so-called snake bird parts the water with its serpentine neck, body submerged, and slinks through the freshwater shallows to skewer fish. The world's 5 species of frigate birds have long, pointed wings designed for effortless soaring over the seas. The very large wing area relative to body weight gives the frigate birds the lowest wing loading of any living birds. The sides of the deeply forked tail are often held together like tweezers. A nesting colony of the magnificent frigate bird was discovered in the Florida Keys in 1969, establishing this as the only member of the family to breed in North America. The 8-foot wings balance on the winds over coastal waters from Texas to South Carolina, most frequently near southern Florida. To dazzle the white-breasted female, the male balloons a red throat pouch. The head and breast of immatures are white. The duck-like birds, order Anseriformes, are composed of 2